3, 2, 1, go! What's happening, everybody in Facebook world? Opening some drawers. Sorry I'm late. It seems like it's always one thing or the other. In this case, I was just about to go live, and my microphone, the secondary mic that I used to pick up for YouTube for the rebroadcast that we're going to do for this podcast live feed. I don't know what you want to call it. It's not really a podcast because I don't have a podcast system. I don't have a podcast account. I'm not generating anything for that, trying to create anything for that. I am just doing everything I possibly can, or I think that I possibly can, to support our sport, the new organization, other match directors out there that need support, like we did this past weekend at the 2019 LIMCAT UML District 1 Championship. And so, yeah, sometimes I'm late because I'm doing this all myself. We got camera rolling, mic rolling, everything's good to go. You guys are here. Hopefully everybody can hear me. Give me a thumbs up if you guys can hear me. I can see some people join in. Let me check over here, make sure I'm not frozen. Make sure you guys can hear me and everything good to go, because welcome. I guess I could say welcome. Welcome to what I'm going to call the first PMR Podcast. And what is that? I mean, I'd like to say it's the USSL podcast. There's this thing that goes around about a Pete match and things like that, and I really don't. I'm flattered and honored with the notion that that I hear people saying at matches when competitors are searching for. This is when I hear it the most. When competitors are walking stages the day before the match, or even during their walkthrough, and they're searching super hard to try to find, like, if I lean over here, I can line up this double, or if you go over here, you can see all of this, or if you do this, you won't have to go to the end. And then I hear people say, "What are you doing, man? Like, you're not gonna find it. It's not over there. Just shoot the stage." And a lot of people, when we talk about competing at some of the higher level events, I personally, and I was taught by an amazing person named Michael Voigt. I personally don't believe that finding those holes is always the win. Yes, of course, if you go to a match somewhere where those holes exist and it hasn't been proved correctly by high-level people, you might be able to find yourself a something that could save you some time. Unfortunately, the moment you do that, everybody else sees it, and then everybody else does the same thing. So you have to, it's a catch-20, right? If you never exploited it, then maybe nobody would ever exploit it, and then everybody would shoot the stage. And you still have styles, right? You still have optional targets. You know, do I want to shoot 4 and load for it? Do I want to pick up the gun and just start loading? There's still so many options in the game. I'm not negating that. But it's flattering to me when people say, like, Pete does a pretty good job at cleaning up a match or cleaning up something, and I don't know if that actually needs to be plugged in. I don't think it does, but Pete does a pretty good job at cleaning up the matches and making it solid. So anyways, the PMR podcast, what is this? Well, technically Tani had to work a weird schedule, and we didn't think she was going to be home, so you're missing Tani. So if you got hearts and sad faces, mad faces for not having Tani here, and you're just stuck with me, sorry if you were thinking you were going to get to see Tani, because obviously she's everything better than me. But I'm going to talk a bunch tonight, and I'm going to talk in a podcast format, and I would be glad to answer questions. So if anybody wants to chime in, questions, things like that, I'd be glad to bring you on. We've also tried before to have people call in. I brought one of the work phones in here. We've had people call in, put them on speakerphone. My external mic here picks it up. My secondary mic's definitely going to pick it up. And we could talk if there's somebody that really had something to say, something that they really felt passionate about, maybe want to add to the podcast. I would be glad. Again, I use the word podcast, but I'm not in a podcast form. I'm not going to broadcast this to iTunes yet, but it'll be real simple. I'm going to rebroadcast this to the United Shooting Sports League's Facebook, YouTube channel, and you'll be able to go on there, click on it, and then just let it play while you're getting ready for work. Let it play while you're driving to work. Let it play while you're loading ammo. And hopefully we can touch on some subjects that are really touchy subjects right now in the community. A lot of stuff going on in some other groups, some 3-gun talk groups, and some things. Some other people doing a great job trying to support and grow the organization. And some other people doing a great job trying to just grow multi-gun in general. In all the shooting sports. There's stuff going on in all the shooting sports. There's stuff going on in all sports. And I'd like to talk about that. Hopefully I can stay on tangent. I've got a small outline. Hopefully I can stay on tangent and give you guys some information about me, about why the United Shooting Sports Leagues exists, why I started to do what I do, why I'm doing it, why I believe so passionately about what we're doing, what the United Shooting Sports League's future is, what we believe it is, and hopefully give you guys some insight, some information, and address some of the concerns and some of the comments that are out there on social media about multi-gun in general, the sport in general, the future of the sport, and the comparisons to other high-level sports. So, I actually should, I got my nursery beer over there, but I need to drink water because I'm just going to talk a lot tonight. Patricia, what's happening? How's it going? Scott Green, congratulations on your District 1 championship. Obviously, you come to a lot of national events, and you've won those. So, being that you went to your district championship, which is something I want to talk about, District 1, you went to your district championship, and you won in the division that you enjoy shooting in. Congratulations, and that's exactly what the district titles are for. It's to really highlight those shooters in your district that are some of the best shooters in the country. So, again, congratulations on your win there. I'm always honored to have you at my matches. Dottie's here, obviously, watching. James, what's up? Laura, how's it going? I'm guessing Laura's watching because Brian's watching on Lauren's phone, because Laura doesn't really want to watch Pete Renson. John, what's up? Kevin, how's it going? Thank you for your support of the match, guys. Everybody that's out there. John, obviously, doing a lot of work up in District 13, running events. And Kevin, staffing the District 1. You're a senior stage manager on Stage 4. And I'd like to take this opportunity to start this podcast, or start this off, not really start with 6 minutes in, but thank you to everybody that helps support an event. Thank you. There's no words, there's no gestures, there's nothing we can do to appreciate you more or thank you for your selfless acts of taking time away from your family, your work, your job, your sport. Because obviously when you're shooting a staff match, you probably do not shoot up to the standard that you probably could perform if you were shooting on a squad with like individuals that were competing against you to fuel off of and things like that. I can't thank people that support the events enough. There's not enough help. We need more help. And for those of you who support an event or come work an event, we as match directors, stage designers, stage builders, range masters, we could not be doing what we like to do if we didn't have you to help us out. The shooters, let's talk about why we got to thank you more and more and more. There's 99% of this community nationwide just wants to shoot, and that's okay. There's nothing wrong with that. These comments going around about everyone needs to lend a hand, in a volunteer sport, I agree. Everyone needs to lend a hand, but lend a hand at your local club. Go help your local club build a match in the morning and see what it feels like. Help your local club build some props, maybe do a range cleanup. If you're a high-level shooter and you have a job and your sponsors and your wife and your hobby and your training and your instructing, right? Because as a shooter, you don't make any money. You're losing money. I mean, on a massive scale. Keith Garcia, the two biggest names I'm thinking of right now because they were just at the district, Scott Green, Keith Garcia, the two biggest divisions, Open Tech, and the two of the biggest names, they're just struggling to try to enjoy their hobby. And for those of you who don't realize that, you need to close your eyes for a second and think about it. The top shooters are not shooting this because they're making money on it. Match directors, District 1, District 2, Bill Pags, Kerry Palmer are not putting on a match for you because they're going to make $1 million or even $100,000 or even $50,000. And if for some strange reason a district event has a full field and does really well, I know myself and Kerry can agree, we often pad our prize tables, but and buy more prizes for the prize tables. But if there was some way to give back to Kerry Palmer for his 6 months of service to prepare himself for his event, if there was some way to give back to him, and if his event did really good and he could take a little bit of money and put it in his pocket, why is that a bad thing? Let's be real here for a second. 6 months of Kerry Palmer's life is put into preparing for the District 2 title. 1 month of his life, every month he puts on a local event. He takes time away from his life, his family, his jobs to go out and put on a local event. He turns that money over to a club. He buys more steel. He buys more targets. He buys more paint. He buys more timers. He buys what he needs to take care of the event. And he's doing a selfless act, just like Kevin Moran being a range officer at the District 1 on Stage 4. Kevin showed up. He helped build. He did not get his hotel paid for. He did not get food every single day. He did not get some kind of a prize at the end, a small token of his appreciation from Bill Pags, because it was what we could afford and what we could do. And at the end, Kevin Moran still thanked us for allowing him to be a part of the event. We need people like that. We need good people that are willing to come out and help out and be a part. And we can't thank you guys enough for your selfless acts across the board, from the guy that's never RO'd a match or stage managed a match in his life that offers to run a clock or a scoreboard or build the stages, to the match directors that are putting on every level of event nationwide, whether they're a part of the USSL or not. We're going to talk about this. There will always be other individuals putting on events for the sport, call it outlaw, call it whatever you want, that I believe there's a place for them, and I can't thank them enough for putting together an event in their region, district, area, whatever you want to call it, so that their shooters have a place to come and shoot a higher level match, or the thankless acts of the match directors at every single local club around the country that deal with boards that don't want them there, deal with the wives that miss them, deal with jobs that they have to neglect, and deal with the fact that they have to put in a lot of work so that 90-something% of the field can just come and shoot and have a good time. And there's nothing wrong with any of that. There's zero reason to discuss it, argue it, force people to work that don't want to support, force people that want to just come shoot, have a good time, to not have a good time, or negate the fact that these other people are willing, because it's who they are. Everyone's different. That's what makes us all so amazing people, that we're willing to put in some extra time for the sport, because we know that's what makes it work. The staff at the District 1 was excited to see that District 1 came out and represented for their district. Keith Garcia, obviously you guys all know him, 25,000 Instagram followers. That's support. That's awesome. Scott Green, I've handed him 3 national titles, a world title, several other big championships, which we're going to talk about. Marco, PCC, coming out, doing a great job. If I neglected your name, don't negate it. Craig Outson, been in this sport a long time. Brian Nelson, a coin carrying pro, came out, taught a free class the day before the match to try to help support the match. Can't thank Brian enough for that. Thank you so much. Gregory Fittis, Josh Wakamatsu. Josh coming out of Utah, coming out of his district to come into another district to try to have some fun, and Greg Fittis in the district. We had some of the top names. If I forgot you, don't I'm sorry. I just want to express how awesome it was that high-level shooters came to their district championship to compete and win that title in their district. So if people around the country are shooting events under other rulebooks, outlaw formats, to create a facility or a venue for people to come shoot at, thank you guys. Thank you for supporting the sport, regardless of what organization, what outlaw, what rule book. As long as you're keeping it fair and fun and doing what your shooters want to do, there's nothing to complain about. On my thank you to all your staff from the bottom of my heart, we can't do it without you. I couldn't shoot the Pro Series and the events that I shot without helping, so I could just focus on shooting if I didn't have you guys out there helping. And now I choose to do what I'm doing, because not that I don't love shooting, but yeah, I got this awesome new injury. So now I have 3. I have a blown knee, blown shoulder, and now I have a blown ankle because I'm a knucklehead. But I love what I'm doing. So thank you, John. Thank you for all your support. Kevin, Carrie Palmer, Brian Otrambo, thank you. Lance, thank you. I know all you guys that are tuning in right now to the PMR podcast. I know all you guys tuning in right now put in a lot of work, and I thank you for it. So apologies sort of accepted. I don't know what Patricia, you're a knucklehead. You don't even shoot no more. Come on out and have some fun. Stafford Surefire. JPPC said 2-gun match before issued. No conflict. No, Kevin, please come shoot the PCC match and then stick around to shoot with us. We'd really appreciate it. Pete Russell, you and Major wearing at the Limcat opens the ones on the webpage store. Yes, the black and white one. The black and white shirt that Major and I were wearing is on the website store. The red, white, and blues have not been recreated yet. The first run of red, white, and blues were never sold. They were given to match directors and support staff for creating the USSL. So if you see somebody in a red, white, and blue USSL, I don't have one. If you see someone in the red, white, and blue, that guy earned it. Nobody wearing red, white, and blue bought it. That guy earned it. And so if you'd like to take the time to go up and thank him for helping out, we would all appreciate that. We'd all appreciate that. I think I still got to do the Tawny scroll by myself. Charlie Brown, what's up, brother? Can't wait to see you in Wyoming, man. It's going to be awesome. Can't wait. Can't wait. Brian's here. Greg, hey, Pete, what's up? Scott Green, thanks, Pete. Coming up, helping. Yep. Thanks, Scott. Yeah, it was awesome. Patrick, Brandon, Trevor, how's it going? Again, Trevor, all the help. Everybody here. No worries, Pete. Happy to help. Each match is a great experience for me. You know what's really fun with it? When I get these shooters that tell me all the time that come and they staff some of my matches. They're like, dude, I got to watch the Super Squad shoot. I rewind back to, without telling you too many stories, I don't want to bore you on the podcast, but remember, this is not so you can stare at Pete Rensing for an hour. This is so you can rebroadcast and you can turn on the YouTube. You can tell your friends, hey, man, I know you're not on Facebook, right? You guys don't see Major on here. He's not on Facebook. So tomorrow, Major's going to get on YouTube, and he's going to hit a button, and he's just going to let it play. And he's just going to listen. So hopefully I can keep you entertained and give you guys some cool stuff. Watching the Super Squad, I remember it was like 2004, maybe 2004. 2014, 2015 USPSA Multi-Gun Nationals. Designed the entire match, built the entire match, built half the match by myself. Then I had a support crew come out and help me put the rest of it together, and I can't thank them enough for all their support and help. Then Carl Schmidt, an amazing individual with tons of experience, came out and proofed my stages and found all my problems and corrected my issues and fixed my loopholes, and we built one of the strongest matches I think we had ever built together. I learned so much leading up to that match, and it was my first match shooting the match with the Super Squad. So at this point I had not just spent the last couple of years with Michael Voigt and Travis Gibson and Craig Outson and some of these great people, but I felt and they felt that I was a good enough shooter to shoot with them. So they honored me and allowed me to shoot on the Super Squad with them. And I remember I was gaming one of the stages, I was breaking down one of the stages, and I had this idea where I wanted to shoot the position I wanted to use to shoot the long range. And Bruce Pyatt walked by. I'll never forget it because he goes, "What are you doing?" And it's Bruce Pyatt, right? So you really like that guy's history, right? He's been around a long time. It's like you see Patrick Kelly, you just want to shake his hand. And it's Bruce Pyatt. He's like, "What are you doing?" I was like, "Well, I was thinking, if I get in here, and I'm younger and I'm fit, and I'm like, it's gonna be great, and I'm gonna get here, and then when I'm done doing this, I'll be able to get out of here really quick." And he's like, "No, you're not gonna do that. Get over here." He showed me a much better position, a much better place. It was probably a yard away, a much better solid position to go 1-for-1 on the long range and get out of there and do better on the stage. And of course, I immediately listened. That's something that's the kind of person I am. I'm a teacher, I'm an instructor, and I love teaching. And so I also love learning. And so I listened, and I did so much better on the stage than I would have. So I remember shooting with the Super Squad and being so overly humbled. I have another story I won't waste your time with now. I'll tell you later. I'll have to remember Keith Garcia, 3 Gun Nation. It's all his fault. Keith Garcia, 3 Gun Nation. It's all his fault. All right. Bruce Pyatt taught me a lot there, but watching and shooting with the Super Squad was very humbling and taught me a lot. And I remember my shooters saying, when the Super Squad comes through and they start shooting, it's so awesome to watch them. And if you're shooting on another squad across the range, you never get to see that. So if you're a new shooter, don't get me wrong, when you're great, when you're getting good, go shoot the match and enjoy yourself. But as you're a new shooter and learning, you will probably learn a lot more. I'm not going to put a percentage on it because I'm really good at exaggerating, but I'm not going to exaggerate. You will probably learn a lot more by volunteering to work the match, possibly build some stages and watch how the match director and stage designers break down the stages and break them down as range masters to find the problems and the loopholes. There's multiple hats transitioning here. And then watch the squads come through and shoot, and watch a mid-level pack squad come through and shoot, and then watch what the super squad does when they get there. Watch how they work together. They don't ignore each other. They listen to each other. They work together. They battle with each other, but they're also finding the best way to shoot the stage, and then whoever executes the stage better in that plan puts the stage win down. So you're going to learn a lot. Volunteer to help, because we can't thank you enough. We need the help. Volunteer to help. Watch the shooters. Watch the match director staff. Learn a little bit about how to design, build, and you will learn so much more about your own shooting and your own abilities by seeing that just because some guy does something one way, you don't have to copy them. Sometimes there's multiple ways to do it. Of course, the super squad, they're all that good. So they all have the ability to perform tasks at that level. When somebody says, hey, I was thinking about doing this, I say, have you ever practiced that? And they say, no. And I say, well, that's a horrible idea. If you've never practiced this technique, why are you going to try to pull it out at a major event? What have you practiced? Well, I was on that position a couple months ago and I practiced it kind of like this. Do that. Later on, do that. But the super squad, they can kind of accomplish every mission, so they work together very well. But anyways, Kevin, thank you so much. Christopher, what's going on? Carrie Palmer, thanks to Kevin. All the other staff at District 1 had a great time. Thanks for coming out, Carrie. It's pretty cool to see high-level shooters like Carrie, match directors, and high-level shooters come from other districts into districts. But the district was well supported. When I look at the member numbers, the district is well supported by District 1, and I thank you guys all. And that's the reason we have the districts and states, districts, territories, national and world. Scott Stevenson, miss you, brother. Miss you so much. Can't wait to see you, sir. Can't wait to see you. Justin, what's up? How's it going? Charlie Brown, it is going to be a hoot. I know, Charlie, you're super awesome, super nice, soft-spoken guy. I'm warning you now, you're going to be hanging out with a bunch of goobers, and there might be some alcohol consumption at the party, at the camping area that we'll all be hanging out with, yourself included. We've got several campers coming to the range, Charlie. I know you were talking about places to stay and stuff like that, and not tents, bro. We got beds and we got things, but the town is just too expensive. We tried to pull a block of rooms for staff and stuff, and we just couldn't put it together. It's just way too expensive that time of year. So if you're staff for Wyoming and you want to stay on the grounds, we will accommodate you. There's small fees for trailers, but if you bring your trailer, we'll pay for it. There's no fees for tenting. We've got showers there. We've got bathrooms there. I've got a giant dog. What's up, Buster? My dog has turned into a giant. How you doing? You guys remember Smash? Let me see if I can show you Smash. Smashy. Hey, Buster. Let's see if we can show the world you. All right, say hi. Hi, the Buster. I don't know how big he's gotten. I don't know how big. Get out of here, Buster. I don't know how big he's gotten or what, but you guys saw him as a puppy. If you've seen the YouTube channel, you've gone on there and you can see Smash. But he is giant and he's driving us crazy, but he's awesome. Teddy Miller, what's up? Eric, Ben Lazarda, how you doing, brother? Jim, Brian, learned an absolute ton from working and watching the legends shoot. Guys, I can't stress enough. Watching the greats perform will help you. People learn through visualization. People only learn through 3 techniques. Good instructors understand this. Just showing you how awesome I am is not being a good instructor. I have to be able to get you to believe that you can do that. And the greats do things that we probably can't do yet. And so you're able to visualize and watch what they do, and hopefully you can learn some through visualization. Obviously, projecting my voice and teaching you and talking to you is another way people can learn. They can process that. I've learned in the other sport that I teach, wakeboarding, a lot of times I'll take a student out and I will tell them how to do it, and then they will do it. But it is until I go out there and then perform some other techniques that then they go back out and perform even better, because there was that visualization. And there's a good barrier there, that one of the third techniques, the physical aspect of me actually helping you, which is very difficult in shooting, right? Just because I come in and pull the trigger for you, okay, and you hit the target, I didn't teach you anything. It's a cool trick. I like doing it. Don't get me wrong. If you're an instructor out there, you do it. I do it too. It's fun. I have you hold the gun. I come in. I pull the trigger for you. You hit the target. It's awesome because, woo, look at me. All I'm teaching is that your gun's doing its job, right? And the most important thing is that trigger. That's a technique I'm teaching you, but I'm not actually physically teaching you how to shoot. And just like in wakeboarding, I can't actually go out there and hold you on the wakeboard. In golf, I was able to run students through range of motion and position them correctly and do things. There's a few things I can do in shooting to teach you how to shoot. So I gotta talk, hopefully project myself correctly, hopefully express myself in positive notions that you will be able to process and understand, and then execute, and then through visualization. So go watch the best shoot. You might learn something. And at the same time, go watch some of the best build a stage, design a stage, range master a stage. That's a whole other technique, range mastering a stage. You walk in the stage to try to find anything that could go wrong. Could someone get hurt here? Could someone get DQ'd here? We decided Kevin Moran's stage at District 1, we changed that stage like 5 times building it. And it wasn't until like 45 minutes before the staff shot that stage that we moved the starting position from the right to the far left because of the visual that we felt how many people might actually get in trouble there, safety, DQs, things like that. So great range masters that have a lot of knowledge you can learn a lot from them also. In the process, you could learn a lot about yourself and your shooting. Patrick Clark, I've been a USPSA for 10 plus years now. I'm hooked on UML. Thank you, Patrick. Appreciate it. See you all in Wyoming. Really enjoyed match staff and plan to continue participating on the staff squad. Yeah, Pat, can't thank you enough for everything you did for us and everything you did for the district. It's super, super important that we have you guys, so thank you. Kevin, Pete, if you drive to Wyoming, you have room in the trailer for me. Hitch a ride. That's possible, Kevin. We will have places to crash out there. So, and I am driving, but I'm probably driving way earlier than you want to go there. My plan, not that I haven't tried super hard at every event all the way up to District 1. I think we hit a home run with the Grands, but my plan is to make the Wyoming match the next big thing that the UML is doing in a solid level 4 match. It is a territory championship, solid level 4 match out there with the help of amazing people like Charlie Brown right there, who's the reason I'm sitting before you right now. One of the main reasons I'm sitting before you right now is that man right there. So thank you, Charlie, for everything. What's up, Matt and Teddy? Hey, Pete. The dog can open it. Yes, the dog opens all the doors in the house. That's why he just opened the door to the office, to the studio. Yeah, he's running around having a good time. Troy, what's up? Miss you, brother. Brandon Chin. Anil, thank you so much for everything you're doing at the local club. Anil just stepped up, help out my local club. The guy has 2 jobs, 4 kids, a wife, a hobby, and he's trying to find a way to fit time to help in his hobby. So I can't thank you enough. Mike Bauer, what's up? I know you're running matches out there. Thank you for supporting the sport no matter what. I appreciate it. I appreciate everybody out there. Chris Thomas, all that good stuff. All right, Kevin Moran. Yep, Wyoming Surefire. We'll talk. Kevin, you got to change your profile picture. The little one, it doesn't look like you. Not in the small one. The other one does, but that one doesn't look like you. I never really knew. I knew who Kevin Moran was, but I never really put it all together. And now that we spend so much time together, time to change your profile picture. Doesn't look like you. Just kidding, bro. Well, I'm not kidding, but doesn't look like. From here, it doesn't look like you. It's just a little thumbnail. Maybe it's because I'm blind. All right, so questions. I'm here. Teddy, back in the room. What's up, Buster? Can you, Tani, come on in. T&P show. We're going back to the Pete Rensing podcast, but Tani Torres, she just got home from work and she's trying to take care of the dog. Wave hi, say hi.
Hi.
All right, bye. Get out of here. Take your dog with you. Take my dog with you. All right, so let's talk about some stuff. 28 minutes in, I'm not even making notes. So if you want to really follow the PMR podcast, you're gonna have to listen to the whole thing. We're almost a half hour, 29 minutes in. I really want to talk about some stuff. Creation of USSL, the future, me, Pete Rensing, why, all that good stuff. For those of you who don't know, I, Pete Rensing, started this venture about 10 years ago. Shot my first match. Within 6 months of shooting my first match, I met Taryn Butler and Michael Voigt. I met a lot of local people that are still playing the game. Matt Lamp, can't thank you enough. Jeffrey Yerger, Jared Benura, people locally that guided me and helped me and got me to the point. But I met Michael Voigt, who is a 12-year president of the USPSA. I met Taryn Butler. You know him. He trains the one. I met these amazing people. Shortly after that, met some of their friends and some of the big names that they have been a part of, and created a relationship with them, offering to volunteer and support them in any venture possible. Mike brought me on to help out with USPSA Multi-Gun Nationals. A year later, the USPSA pistol team called me up and asked me if I would help lay out and design stages for them. Helped out USPSA Pistol at many events. Traveled around the country to support other outlaw organizations, Ironman, Blue Ridge, Rocky Mountain, many of the biggest events out there, because I wanted to shoot them, and I felt like I could give back a little bit, and get to shoot them and learn a lot, and that's what evolved for many years into what we now have, or what we're calling the United Shooting Sports Leagues. These are outlaw organizations, outlaw individuals that run one event a year, that believe that their rule book is solid and good to go and safe, and I supported them. This is the United States Practical Shooting Association. I supported their pistol organization. I still do. I still run their matches at my local club. I'm a life member. I supported the Multi-Gun Nationals for 9 years. When 3-Gun Nation came around, I immediately believed in what they were trying to do, immediately believed in their abilities to do it, and I supported them. The very first 3-Gun Nation event, bigger event outside of any kind of club event, was held the week after the Multi-Gun Nationals, the days after the Multi-Gun Nationals, and I helped build the stages. I stayed behind to help with the event. Every year the 3-Gun Nation event did a shoot-off in Las Vegas. I was range master, or designed it, or built it, or RO'd it on my entire team. I hired and brought them out. I paid them a dinner to come out and help out with that event, and supported that organization in their growth all the way to the point where I believed I was good enough to compete with them. Went to the qualifier, earned my right to shoot on the tour, 4th place overall in the qualifier. Went to my first 3-Gun Nation match in outside of the outlaw matches where they were leapfrogged on with Ironman or Rocky Mountain or some of these other events. Went to my first 3-Gun Nation event in Tulsa. Was a rookie, so was on the D squad. We had an A, B, C, D squad, and then the lady squad, so there's 5 squads. Was on the D squad, showed up to the D squad, competed very well at the D level at that first event. Was promoted from D squad all the way to A squad. I think I was only one of only a couple individuals to ever make it go from D squad to A squad in one event. Got to A squad, which was the super squad. Keith Garcia, damn you. It was your fault? No, it's just kidding. But Mike Voigt, Taryn Butler, Keith Garcia, the greats. Okay, the greats were there. And if I forgot your name, I'm sorry. The Kalani Laker, Jesse Tischhauser, East Coast names, big names. The greats were there. And I choked. I didn't do so well. I didn't do near as well. It wasn't that the competition was that much better. They were a lot better, but it was that I just didn't perform. I didn't put myself to that same standard, to that same level. I remember the easy thing to explain to my team was the mental side of it. When I got to the D squad, no respect to anybody there, no disrespect to anybody there. I just believed that I was good enough to compete with those individuals. And when I got to the A squad, I kind of choked. I was like, oh my God, it's my heroes. So that's Pete Rensing as a shooter. Now, I shot for a while. I went through a couple of injuries, and not just 100% from shooting, but I got to a point where I started running the Multi-Gun Nationals 100% and felt the need to put more effort into making the match solid and better and perfect. And by the end of that venture, I didn't feel like I had the energy to compete at the level that I would want to compete at. It was very easy to see that I probably could shoot and do good. Like, I have all these plaques over here on the wall. I could probably shoot and probably do good, but I wanted to win, and I didn't feel like I was energized enough to win. And then there's also that, was I on the ground longer than most people? Were the stages in my brain more than most people? And there was always that. And I think that at a certain level, to a certain extent, that might be actually true. Newer shooter, if he had more time to spend, maybe not. Maybe the newer shooter like over analyzes it, right? And then they get freaked out, and then they shut down, and then they mess it up. But the great shooters, they can see a stage for 5 minutes, come up with a good plan, and execute, because they're executing a set of skill sets. And at the multi-gun nationals for USPSA, it's very important that my passion there was very important to create a style that fit that rule book. And that style was that any shooter could show up and shoot that event and compete. The best would just do it better and faster. It wasn't about trying to challenge the number one guy so hard that the rest of the field timed out. It was the fact that I believed we could create something that the C/D class shooters could come to their first multi-gun event from the pistol world and enjoy themselves, and that the best shooters would just do it better. And that's really what we turned it into. I think Carl made some really awesome comments to me in my last couple of years that I'll never forget, where he said, I really believe you created something that everybody can do, and the best just do it better and faster. So I'm honored about that. But long story short, Pete Rensing, shot for a long time, have been guided by some of the best in the industry, have supported every organization out there in multi-gun, have also supported all the outlaw organizations in multi-gun, tried to help them whenever I could, and RO and staff their matches and represent for their matches and shoot, do some good there. There's a 4th place scope tactical at Ironman right there. Some 1st and 2nd places in pistol matches, 1st places in lower classes in matches. There's a 1st place, first hard as hell champion. For those of you who don't know, for those of you who were wondering, like, Pete doesn't do the outlaw, physical matches. Helped design, build, run the first hard as hell and the 2nd one and the first 2-gun one. And I won the 1st one, and my teammate Cody Leeper won the 2nd one. So pretty cool stuff there. 1st place A class, 2012 USPSA Multi-Gun Nationals. Pretty cool. So anyways, not trying to toot my horn, just trying to explain that I've shot a lot. I like it. I teach. I love it. And I really enjoy building in matches for you guys. And that is the start and the background of Pete Rensing going forward into the United Multi-Gun League. And now we have the United Shooting Sports Leagues. So that was long, 8 minutes. Hope it didn't bore you too much. But for those of you who don't know, now you know. And if you have friends that don't know, throw them into the YouTube. Send them over to the YouTube channel, United Shooting Sports Leagues on YouTube. Have them click on the first. There'll be a playlist for it. Have them click on the first PMR podcast. When this is all over, I'll re-upload it to there and have them listen and tell them fast forward to minute 28 and hear who Pete Rensing is and what he's all about. So what we got? Don, what's up? Charlie Brown. Facebook feedback is a gift. Yes, sir. Teddy Miller laughing about something. The dog barging back in the door. Scott, hi T-Bomb. Hi, Scott. Keisha, what's up? Dan, what's up? Michael, what's up? Ryan, Mike Bauer, it's time to transition WC to UML. I'll call you tomorrow. Bro, I would be honored. Anything I can do to help you out, I would definitely guide you along the way. I've been preaching about this thing called the Match Director Guidebook, and I have failed all the match directors of UML by not getting you this guidebook. Now, it doesn't mean that you have to follow it to the T, but I have failed you because I've learned at this last event that there's a lot of missing pieces to the knowledge that was taught to me over the years by many, many, many great individuals, and I have failed you guys by not getting some of that information out. But Mike, I would be honored to help you out in any way, shape, or form. I really truly believe in what we're doing more and more every day. And that's some more stuff that we want to talk about tonight on the podcast. We got another 22 minutes, so plenty of time. Let's talk about the growth of the UML and then why we've evolved to the USSL. And really, a lot of people here were focused on the UML and the multi-gun portion. The Grands has showcased what we can do in the other leagues also. But let's talk about UML. It was we've done Surefire for 6 years now, and the Surefire World Multi-Gun event. And there's a lot of talk right now in Facebook and in social media about too many championships. There's talk about the money side. There's talk about the nonprofit side. There's talk about not knowing who the true best is and things like that. So let's back up for a second and talk about the Surefire World Multigun. 7 years ago, 7-8 years ago, it was a good 2 years of development. Michael Voigt, the great Michael Voigt, and Barry Duke came to me and said, we shoot all these outlaw matches, we go to all these matches. Mike was still working with USPSA a little bit. I was running the nationals, and Mike said, I think we can do our own event. And I remember arguing with him at first, saying, like, we're doing exactly what we're trying not to do, and that's starting a whole nother rule book. There was already so many rule books, which means we're creating a whole nother outlaw rule book, and we're not doing what we need to do. But this was the point where we didn't believe in the other organizations for a moment, and we said, let's just think for a second, what would be the true championship match? So on that note, let's talk about Surefire and the UML, and why Surefire is run the way it is. And for those of you who don't know, UML is actually the expansion of the Surefire rulebook. It was created as just the Surefire World Multigun rulebook that Surefire has poured a lot of effort and time and money into. It was created as that rulebook, and that's what evolved. When people shot Surefire, they said, wow, this is fun, let's do this. Surefire World Multigun event is designed to showcase the different styles of multigun. Let's imagine we wanted to crown the number one guy. We wanted to know who the real number one was. Well, not to negate any other match out there and any other match director out there, but let's imagine a match out there runs a all-terrain match, and they crown a champion that is a hunt and peck, no vision barrier, run through the woods, terrain style match. Well, that wouldn't represent at all what another shooter at their local club that shoots bay stages all the time might be able to perform. Flip side, let's go shoot an event like a Multigun Nationals, like a 2011 or 11, 12, 13 Multigun Nationals at Desert Sportsman's. 12, 10, 12 bays, one stage with long range. Not all of them, a lot of bays. If we crown that guy the national champion, is he the national champion for the 2012 USPSA Multigun Nationals? 100%. Is he the best multigunner in the country? Multigun has a lot of styles. There's other events where they don't have the ability to do what we do at a terrain match or a bay match, and they do box to box because they're lanes of fire. Richmond comes to mind in San Francisco. A very successful club working with very tight, limited abilities, and they have great multi-gunners there, but they're almost running a box-to-box scenario. It's what they have. They can't shoot side berms. They have to be very aware of where their lanes of fire are, and to really guide lanes of fire straight down range, you got to use walls, boxes, and you've created a sprint, shoot, sprint, shoot, sprint, shoot. Bay to bay to bay. Let's talk about bay to bay stages. Somewhere at the Nationals this year in Florida, the Ha match, bay to bay. Ironman used to have bay to bay. A bay to bay. So you shoot in a bay, you drop that gun, and you sprint for no other reason than to get to the other bay. Sometimes a very long distance. Whole nother style, right? It's gonna showcase guys with longer legs, athletes, guys that can run really fast. Probably not going to showcase somebody that's maybe not as physically gifted or doesn't have the ability to sprint. So let's try not to get off tangent. The Surefire World Multigun was designed and created, and I'm not saying come to it. I'm not saying you have to come. I'm not trying to tote the Surefire right now. I'm just saying if you wanted to crown an individual on Multigun, you would have to do it over the series of many events, which were being said there's too many events, or you would have to do it at one event that everybody could get to, that encompassed all the styles: night stages, bay to bay stages, terrain stages, box to box stages, USPSA Multigun National style stages where you're required to shoot certain targets with certain guns, optional fast bay stages, 3-gun nation style, where you're allowed to shoot the square with different guns. All the styles come together in one location. People that are good at terrain, bays, box to box, all come, battle, crown champion. Is there too many championships? I don't believe so, and here's why. We're being compared, the sport is being compared to these high-level sports where there's a ridiculous amount of history and money involved. It's also very mainstream. To compare our sport to football, baseball, basketball, or hockey is in my opinion, not fair of an argument. I don't see the argument. I can't find the argument. And when you can read about it, that's one thing, but you really can't put it into perspective. A Super Bowl is a Super Bowl. I get that, but there was an AFC and an NFC championship. Okay, right now tonight's the Stanley Cup Finals. There was regional champions and then coastal champions, and now they've come together. So they've forced, this sport forces these entities from across the country and Canada to all come to one venue to crown a title. We're a long way off from forcing East Coast people or West Coast people to go to one location to crown a national title or a world championship. Why? Because it's an amateur sport. There are no pro shooters. Keith Garcia is represented as a pro shooter, but he works full time as a cop. For those of you who don't know that, this is a hobby for him, and he's great, and he's got sponsors, and he represents those sponsors well with 25,000 Instagram followers. And he came to the District 1 event, and he won the District 1 event, and he's already made posts thanking the sponsors, showing them the gift that he won off the prize table, and representing well for it. Everybody in this sport has jobs and families and lives outside of their individual sport. I don't know if there's any one individual that doesn't have some sort of work tied to it. They work for the company that they shoot for. That's not a pro athlete. A pro athlete, I worked with them in Hawaii when I was doing PGA, the Golf Association, which we're going to talk about. They didn't have a job. They hit golf balls all day. And then they went home. And then they came back and hit golf balls all day. So we're a long way off from forcing entities, and we haven't even begun to talk about the millions and millions and millions of dollars that's flooded into the NFL and the and hockey and baseball and basketball. So let's compare our sport to something a little bit more fair, and let's also remember that the mainstream of our sport is extremely difficult because we're gun people, right? I love the fact that I'm a Marine. I'm a third generation Marine. I love the fact that Tawny was petrified of firearms until I introduced her to them, and now she has national titles on the wall. But let's be real. We're not going to be on Fox Sports tomorrow. It's not going to happen. Not anytime soon. So how do we become mainstream? How do we get on Fox Sports? Well, a lot of things are going to have to change in the evolution and the perception, but realistically, the unification of the organization, the growth of it, the unification of the rule book, so that even if you are playing in the outlaw venue, you're still playing under the same rules, so that you know what you're doing. And our sport's a long way from that too. So comparing our sport to these other team organizations is very difficult. Now let's break it down and compare it to something that we can actually compare it to. Let's compare for a moment practical shooting, or for a moment, I know a lot of you guys are here, we're UML. Let's talk about multi-gun. Let's compare it to the USGA, the United States Golf Association. And for those of you who don't golf, don't be like, oh, Pete, you're such a retard, it's so boring. For those of you who don't golf, I understand, but there's a golf championship every single week. There's millions and millions and millions of dollars in golf. Golf events are sponsored by bankers, lawyers. Golf is sponsored by so much. Let's talk about golf for a second. Every single week, all over the country, there is a golf championship. It's a championship. And when the big golf championships take place, there's another championship happening on the same exact weekend, i.e., this weekend is the US Open. And let me tell you right now, there's another championship going to be held at another location around the country that other golfers that did not qualify for the US Open will be able to compete in. When the Masters goes on, when the British Open goes on, there's other championships. So here's a very, very successful sport that started as an amateur sport and grew into a professional sport that has a championship every single weekend. Now, what do they have that's different from us? Absolutely nothing, and here's why. The USGA, the nonprofit USGA that governs the rules, the other entities around the country that might run an event at their local club, but not under the USGA, like the US Open this weekend will still follow the USGA rules and guidelines. They do that out of respect for the sport and their shooters. They do that because it allows the golfers to come to their event and not have to change clubs, and not have to change shoes, and not have to use a bigger ball. They do it because that's the sport and they believe in it. They may not 100% believe in the USGA. And so on that note, if there's people out there that want to run, if Mike Bauer said to me, hey, WEGC is going to continue to run our style because we love it, it works for us and we believe in it, I'm good with that. 100%. Have no doubt in my mind that there will always be outlaw, and I am okay with that. And so should everybody else. If you're all about outlaw, go shoot outlaw. Have a good time shooting outlaw. But then you can't get on social media and complain. If you're an outlaw lover, you can't get on social media and complain that we're not unifying the rule book, creating a better sport, or doing what's right for the organizations or the sport or 3-gun in general, or the shooters or the sponsors. Or all you can do is say, I love outlaw, but I also go to other events. I just really love competing in outlaw. I'm sure there's golfers that cannot wait for the British Open because they can't get there. So they go shoot their local event and they win, while Tiger and Wood and everybody else are over there in Europe. They can go to their local event and do great, and that's awesome for them. Because what do golfers do? What do pro golfers have to do? They have to pay an entry fee. I know for those of you that can't see me on you're watching, you're listening, you're not seeing me. Pro golfers have to pay an entry fee. They pay an entry fee into an event way higher than our entry fee, right? Because their purses are higher. And if they don't make the cut, they get paid zero. Let me repeat that. I know this for a fact. This is not me just talking. I've worked with these individuals. I was an instructor. I was a strength and conditioning coach. I have friends on the tour. They pay an entry fee. They play the game. And on Saturday, after shooting Thursday and Friday, if they didn't perform well enough, they don't get to play the weekend. They miss the cut, and they don't get paid anything. No prizes, no trophies, no cash. See ya. Better luck next time. So, let's talk about our sport in comparison to golf. We pay an entry fee. We play for 2 to 3 days. We hope to do well enough to walk a prize table and maybe earn a prize, maybe get a trophy, maybe win something cool to build on. But the reality is, we play a tournament. We can go to a championship every single week in our own district, area, territory, location. Have a great time playing the sport that we love to play. Hopefully win something cool and go home and enjoy the day. Much easier to compare practical shooting or UML to golf or tennis. Okay, same thing. And in these events like tennis, there's a championship every single weekend. During the tennis tour, there's very, very different level, lower level tournaments, mid-level tournaments, higher level tournaments. While the higher level tournaments are going on, there's lower level tournaments going on around the country. People in lower ranked numbers can compete at these other events, learning and getting better and ranking higher till they reach these higher ranks and get into these other tournaments and try to qualify for the Opens. And then there's majors. There's 4 majors at the tennis and at golf. There's 4 majors. There's 4 major events that are known to be the bigger events where all the best of the field are going to come. And tennis doesn't have, they have a ranking system because they can do that. And the USGA created a ranking system that allows us to rank golfers based on the slope rating, the difficulty of the course of fire, based on a handicap system that is generated off of that slope rating and your ability to play well at these more difficult or your local home club courses. And that's something that United Shooting Sports Leagues is trying very, very difficult, very, 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 very detailed to create. And that's a system that is right now very immature and needs a lot of evolving and maturation to become great. But it allows you to be qualified at your local club, at your state, at your district, and at the higher national level, or level 4, which also encompasses territories. I had a talk with AJ Hitch at the District 1. She was confused, and here's a chance for some of you guys to understand. I had a talk with Hitch at AJ Hitch, awesome individual, shooting for Limcat, title sponsor of the event, can't thank them enough. And she is currently a sharpshooter coin-carrying sharpshooter at level 4, but her local club pro. And I was trying to explain to her how that all is going to pan out and work. So there's 4 different levels, level 1 through 4. And so here at level 1, she's the best PCC shooter at her club, or one of the best, which is awesome. Because that means you can go to her club and you can watch her shoot and you can learn from her, ask her questions. Super friendly person. Her husband helps her out. They're driving around, having a great time. Great entities for the sport. Thank you guys so much. I know you guys aren't watching, but thank you. When she goes to a state match, it might be harder for her to be a pro because at the state match, everyone in the state's going to come, right? And so now at the state match, she could be a semi-pro, okay, which is the next rank. Now she goes to a district match, which is where we were at level 3. And now a stiffer competition comes in. Scott Green comes in. Marco came in PCC. She's shooting PCC only. Marco came in PCC only and just laid it down. So maybe she comes out of level 3 as an expert. And then she's sitting at level 4 with the highest competition in the country as a sharpshooter. So we have marksman, sharpshooter, expert, and then semi-pro and pro. Below 50%, you're a rookie still learning. So the system, as it evolves and as we see it with her in it, is working perfectly. It's exactly what it's implied to do. We won't have people that are pros taking titles in places that they don't belong, and we won't have people working really hard, myself included, paper grandmaster. If I were to go to a national competition right now, there's no way in heck I could perform at that level. I shot really, really hard for a long, long time, and I practiced standing shoots and reloads and drawing a long, long time, and I got really accurate. And Mike taught me how to become GM, and I made GM, but I don't shoot that to that level anymore. So over the course of the evolution of our system and the averaging and the 4 different levels, we believe we will be able to set up a rankings, or a qualification title system that would set up a standard of how well shooters can perform, and the ability to future that into a points race to give Scott Green a certain number of points for winning a district match and a certain number of points for winning a national match, and at the end of the year, the open shooter with the most points would be the yearly points race champion, the FedEx Cup for golf. But you can win the last tournament at golf and not win the FedEx Cup, meaning Scott Green could come to Surefire with a lot of points, not dogging you, Scott, take second at Surefire, still be the overall champion of 2019 or 2020 if we implement this program, but not be the Surefire world champion. So the system's in place. It's very, very possible. And I would just encourage everybody to compare our sport to something a little bit more individual, a little bit more amateur, a little bit more where everybody has to put some money into it. And understand that even in golf and tennis, there are people and organizations and other entities that are running championships not 100% associated with the USGA. They're running that championship understanding that the USGA has done a lot of work to govern or create a solid standard of rules that we should follow for our competitors. But we're still going to run our event with a couple of little changes here and there. And there's room for that. There's nothing wrong with that. And so for those people who might want to argue, jump on board with UML, if you don't want to, don't. And for those people who want to argue that outlaw rules forever, if there were 72 different rule books for for multi-gun, we would continue to go downhill. And we're not going to go downhill. We're going to go uphill. We're going to continue to get better. We're going to continue to get stronger. We're going to continue to believe in our sport. And we're continue to try everything we can do to create a ranking system, which is how we're going to allow people to write the rules and govern the body through rank and hard work, not an election that would allow people to take over and do things maybe not in the spirit of the original for the shooter, by the shooter thought process. So that's a whole nother discussion when we start talking about for-profits, not-for-profits, and all that stuff, which I'll touch on for a quick second. Let's see. Hope that makes some sense. Mike Bauer, what's up? Ed Pierce, how you doing? And I saw your email today, and I can tell you I'm extremely sad, but I understand. So let's talk. Let's see what's going to be best for Ed Pierce. And we, the whole community, the whole country, cannot thank Ed Pierce for his time over the years and being a match director for the Bad Beat Shootout and helping us out. So thanks, Ed. Appreciate it. Still sorry. Scott Stevenson. What's up, brother? Scott Green. I'm gonna Scott. I really am. Except, man, this one's bad. I blew my ankle out bad. I can't even walk right now. I actually got one of Dottie's canes. Thank God Dottie has canes, because I got one of Dottie's canes. Scott, I don't know. I talked a little bit about myself in this sport, but for a lot of people that don't know, I've competed in high-level sports all my life, individual sports, and very, very physically demanding, injury-prone sports. And I have a lot of stuff catching up to me in my years. I'm still loving life. I'm going to be turning 45 in a month, and I'm still living and loving and having a great time. I look at myself. I don't look 45. I hope I'm going to be old. I'm coming though, Scott. Nate, how's it going? Another great shooter. Honored to have you come out to my events. Can't wait to see you again. What else we got? Mike, Surefire. Thank you. Thanks, Mike. Appreciate it. Surefire is pretty awesome. I love it. Mike Ulansky. What? He's here. You guys are blessed right now. Scott, Kevin. Jeff, what's up? Jeff, another one. Jeff, I mentioned to you earlier in the podcast. Thank you so much for your support over the years. Cody Leeper, what's up? Brian Nelson, what's up? Kevin, AR Upper that launches soda cans and stuff with blank cartridges. Sherwin makes one to shoot and launch golf balls. Patrick Hart. Vince put together an RO class with curriculum at Richmond Bay. He could probably help put together an UML MD book. Yeah, working with Vince this weekend was awesome. Thanks for all. If you see him, tell him thanks for his help and support. Golf Ball Canada Golf Tournament. Correction, MD, not RO. Cody, a lot of people who need to listen to this. Current perception needs to be refined. Thanks, Cody. Patrick. Learn from the mistakes. Paintball Maine 2026 X-Ball Championship on ESPN, and things took a dive after that. Fall off a bar stool. I wish, Scott. A lot of stuff catching up to you sounds like excuses. Oh, man, that's why I love Scott Green so much. I talk some smack to a lot of people. 45. I talk some smack to a lot of people. And Scott Green, man, he just takes it. And just, digs it right back, man. I love you, Scott. That's so much fun. I've been on some work crews where nobody talked to anybody. There's like 5 people trying to build a stage, and it's dead silence. Nobody's saying anything. And I got to be honest, it was boring. When me and my crew get together and we're having some fun with each other, it's worth it. It's why we do it. It's a camaraderie and the friendship that I don't have anymore, not being in the military, and surrounding myself with military guys and people that understand what camaraderie and friendship's all about. You don't have to like everybody at all times on the job, but at the end of no matter what event I've ever been to, I can usually take everybody out and grab some beers and have a good time. So I love it when you dig back, Scott. I shouldn't tell you that because now you're gonna do it forever. But I'm not that bad, Scott. I might not be able to beat you, but you won't be bored. I'll definitely give you a run. I do know that for a fact. I never showed up anywhere and didn't believe I could perform. Let's talk real quick another knowledge bomb Cody's talking about, and I've got it in my notes. There's all this discussion in this regarding profit, non-profit, things like that. People not supporting events. We had a Washington State championship, our first level 2 state championship that was scheduled, and the match director had to cancel the event. The event was set up for a sponsor for a charity, Mission 22, and many sponsors jumped on board to help support the event, and he just can't pull the shooters. And it's such a small number that we've had to cancel the event, and he chose to cancel it. It's really sad to not see locals supporting a state event that's for charity. So I understand that you can go to your local events for $30 to $40, maybe less in some parts of the country. I know I've shot local multi-gun matches up to $60, but I think $25 to $40 maybe is probably a good average. But then won't spend $100 to go support a charity and shoot your local state match. And over time, we're going to get state matches, and in the process of doing that, we're going to be able to create that level 2 qualification system, which will help work the whole system out. But there's also level 3 events that aren't taken care of, and I know that there's this misconception or just an idea what nonprofit is. And for those of you who have never actually dug deep and tried to start a nonprofit, which I have, don't understand the difficulties of it, And then once you do start it, everybody that works. Okay, so let me define this. If you have a nonprofit and that nonprofit requires 10 people to work in an office to do the jobs that the 10 volunteers currently that are working for USSL do, they all get a paycheck. Typically the president of the nonprofit also gets a paycheck. And often the board of a nonprofit may not receive a paycheck, but there's no way most nonprofits survive without certain entities that are necessary for that nonprofit to survive making a paycheck. So when we start talking about a nonprofit and people start talking about all of it needs to go there, it needs to go to charity, needs to go to this, if another organization, which I'm not going to mention, didn't pay a large number of people to work in an office to do all the membership data, that organization would not have survived. So there's some discussion about IDPA not being a nonprofit, but USPSA being a nonprofit, and 3N Nation failed because they weren't a nonprofit and all this stuff. That's not the truth. None of that matters. Organizations, for-profit, nonprofit, fail because passionate people aren't in there doing what they need to do to make it work. Right now, the United Shooting Sports Leagues has a very, very, very small membership. We're under 1,000 members. In the first year, we invested 100% or over 100% of membership income to buy supplies to support district matches, trailers, tents, coolers, timers, radios, coins, trophies, and a lot of the things that things like going to the District 1 event. United Shooting Sports Leagues fronted the bill. They paid for our staff to go out there. They paid for the coins, the medals. They brought equipment. There's things that are necessary to make that work and happen. We currently, United Shooting Sports Leagues currently employs 7 different people, and there's probably about 20, but 7 that I can name off the top of my head that are working the rank and the QTs and the sponsors and the paperwork and the lawyer stuff and the business licensing and the preparation for future matches and the discussions with clubs. There's 7 different people, and website. There's 7 different people that are putting in the effort and energy, and they're all doing it for nothing. They're all volunteering their time, and we can't thank them enough for everything that they're doing so that we could pour 100% of it back into the organization. Our goal would be to have trailers in every district. Our goal would be to have a trailer in every district so that we don't have to drive the trailer to Texas and Wyoming and Utah and California and possibly further, right? District 13 is running an event and the trailer's not going. So that group, thank God they have 5 clubs up there in Michigan and they can support that event. But the reality would be if we could support that event better for them, that would be our goal. That's going to take a lot of support, a lot of membership, and right now all of the backbone people, everybody that's keeping this thing rolling. And the reason it's behind, for those of you that are frustrated because you still haven't seen your rank points on the website, blame me. It's all my fault. It's 100% on me because my team's doing everything they can outside of their normal life and jobs and hobbies and training to help us when they can. I can't keep up. I'm going to be honest with you guys. I'm doing everything I can. Every once in a while I take a day off and I need to, and that's why this looks like this. I had a friend contact me coming in from Colorado that I used to work with. He called me and said, hey, I'm 2 hours out. Can we say hi? I haven't seen him in 7 years. I took a day after working the district match and I went and saw my friend and I hung out with my friend. If I don't do that, I'm going to probably just burn out and not want to do anything. But on this note, the real thing I wanted to talk about and the real thing I wanted to make sure was on this podcast was the evolution of the United Shooting Sports Leagues in the future. Who knows what direction it's going to go. It's been guided for many, many, many years. It started with the UML, with the Surefire rulebook, and he's evolved into something that I'm very, very passionate about and going to continue to do. And right now, we're doing everything we can to grow it and make it succeed with passion and hard work from a lot of people. For those of you who think that a nonprofit would do a better job or could do a better job, and that we should force the top shooters to establish, this is the comments that are out there, we should force the top shooters to establish the board and lead and make it better. I'm not going to name names, but some of the top guys, they just want to show up and shoot and have a good time. That's what they love to do. Why would you force somebody that loves to show up, shoot, win, dominate, beat fools, and talk smack to run the organization? These people have lives. They have jobs. They have kids. They have families. And if these people wanted to run the organization, they would be being match directors. They would be volunteering to build matches. And we need help, but we also need shooters. This is a circle of life. Forcing the top shooters to run an organization because we believe that they would do a better job under a nonprofit situation. It's ridiculous. I'm sorry, I'm trying to be as PC as I can, but it's ridiculous. We need those shooters to show up and dominate. Tiger Woods, we'd like you to retire, never hit a golf ball again in your life, but be the president of the USGA. That's absolutely never going to happen and ridiculous. Fleury, Malcolm Subban, and Fleury, the goalies for the Golden Knights. We'd like you to stop being goalies. We hope you would become the manager and coach for the Golden Knights because we believe you could do better for us. It makes no sense, guys. Yes, could we use input from the top shooters? Sure. And what do every time I go to an event? Scott Green, if you're still here, I'm pretty sure he can tell you that I walk up to him. I spend a good 10-15 minutes with Greg Fittis at the District 1. I go up to these individuals and I ask them questions. I ask them how they're doing. I thank them for coming. I ask them what they would like to see in an event. I ask them if they had fun at the event. I ask them if they did good, but the reality is I walk by shooters all the time. How you doing? And they go, oh, I messed this up, I messed that up, I messed this up. But the bottom line is, how's the event? Okay, what could we do better? How are the stages, which is a big part of what I do. I don't really ask how the sponsors are. That's a whole nother podcast. That's all. We're not even going to get into sponsors. I have a note to talk about it, but we're not even going to talk about it. How's the event? How are you doing? Did you get the information you needed? Do you like the venue? Should we come back to this venue? These guys are going to tell you that these are discussions that we need from the top shooters. And there's a very, Michael Voigt was an anomaly. This is an individual that could beat everybody out there and was the open champion for many, many, many years and was also willing to be the president of the United Shooting Sports, the United USPSA. That's not going to happen everywhere. Not a good analogy. Not a good thing. People that shoot at a high level, Mike told me once, you're not going to build matches forever. You have too much talent. Your physical abilities are incredible, and I can teach you how to be a good shooter. And he did. Taught me how to be a great shooter. He said, you're going to shoot matches and love it. And I do. I do love it. But I also love teaching, and I also love what I do right now. If I want to go teach classes for a weekend, if I get a call from a private and I go out to the range for 6 hours, I love it. And I love running there. I love not running because I have 5 people helping me and 7 people really helping me, but a lot of names that are helping me answer questions and make decisions. I love what I'm doing right now, and that makes it really good for me to do it. That makes it passionate for me to do it. So is the future possibly get to go another direction and nonprofit, this or that or the other thing? Sure, maybe. Who knows? Right now, the evolution is just keep putting our heads down and doing the right thing and doing the best we can and putting on good events, protecting our brand, building good solid stages, evolving into natural terrain, which we did at Bushnell last year. We're going to do it at Wyoming. We're going to do it at Bushnell again this year. Bushnell launched tonight. The 2019 Bushnell UML Traditional Nationals launched tonight because I believe we can have a championship every single week. I also believe that we should have 4 majors. And those majors should be the higher level champions encompassing really awesome rule books and styles that would allow people to come compete at those styles. Bushnell and Wyoming are almost going to be identical, except one's going to be expedition, one's going to be traditional, and one's going to have 5 base stages and 7 terrain, 5 terrain stages, 7 bay stages. The other one's going to have 5 and 6. And this 11 and 12 stage match are almost going to offset each other in the fact that you'll be able to perform at bays and perform in bays or in terrain. And I'm super excited to be a part of both of them. Why would we not run both of those events? It allows everybody in Wyoming and the surrounding states to go to a really awesome event, and the same thing in Texas. We can have a sport that allows people around the country to have their outlaw events and run championships nationwide if we come together and we discuss with each other when those weekends are and try to do our best to not step on each other's toes and overlap each other, which is nothing good for the sport, the sponsors, or the shooters. When you take a sponsor and you put in your event on top of somebody else's event, you cripple the shooters, the sponsors, and the event, and yourself a little bit. We need to fix that. We need to try ourselves to do that. But if somebody called me up and said, which I got a call this year, okay, unfortunate event, Northwest Multigun dropped on the Grands. We fell into the same weekend because they had to change their dates for Memorial Day. And I got a call from them. They said, let's do everything we can to fix that next year. That's all we can ask for. I didn't say great or I don't care because you're not UML. It doesn't matter to me. I said outstanding. Because you lost shooters, I lost shooters, and we didn't help the sponsors get the publicity and the marketing that they deserve for their efforts. So thank you for the call, and let's make sure next year we're not leapfrogged on the same dates. At no mention in that conversation was, I don't care because you're not UML. If Northwest wants to run the Northwest Championship, which I've competed at and was top 10 at, and they want to do it under their rule book or their venue, the way their venue works, and they want to make sure it's not on the dates of the 2020 the USSL Grands, I'm awesome for that. And if they want to be a part of what we're doing, let's grow it. But if not, there's nothing wrong with having championships under different venues and possibly with some tweaks to the style. But I will then hit back on the USGA or the PGA Tour, which allows the USGA to understand that they've created something that's pretty strong. And they're under scrutiny right now, guys. Just like they're under scrutiny right now, just like I'm sure USPSA has been under scrutiny before. I'm sure 3D Nation has been under scrutiny. And I believe I live almost every event under some scrutiny. But I listen to it. I listen to what the shooters are asking. I listen to the arguments. I listen to the complaints. And I do everything I can to do to evolve those in a positive direction. So I'm not going to talk much longer, but that's a lot of what I really wanted to hit on tonight on the first PMR podcast. I'm going to talk about one other thing that I want to do at a couple of upcoming events. But real quick, let me hit on any more comments. Cody Leaper. Johnny, what's up? Kevin, what's up? Greg Fittis, great job this weekend. Thank you for coming out to the event and supporting the event. We've been talking about pro shooters or high-level shooters, jersey shooters, coin-carrying pro shooters coming to events. We need you guys. Okay? We need you guys. If someone's giving somebody a hard time for not working or someone's giving a hard time for being a pro shooter, without high-level shooters, we wouldn't have events. Without workers, we wouldn't have events. Without ROs, we wouldn't have events. Without a match director that's going to take his time out of his life to find a way to thanklessly build a match for you and find a venue for you, we wouldn't have events. It's a circle of life. We need everybody. Everybody does not need to volunteer their time. Everybody does not need to not volunteer their time. It's a circle of life that we all need to work together on. And without having great shooters like Greg Fittis representing District 1 and coming to the event and placing second right behind Keith Garcia, who's also the district one of the district champions at the event, 2 coin-carrying pros at level 4 showing up to their district and showing their support for their district. We can't thank them enough. I can't thank Kevin Moran and Cord Bierman and everybody else at the event for putting on the event, or Bill for taking 6 months out of his life or a year or so out of his life to put on the event. I can't thank them enough for all that they did, but we also need shooters, guys. What you're not realizing is these events go under if there's not enough shooters there. So we need shooters, we need sponsors, we need staff, we need match directors, we need a range master. Michael Ulansky, I can't thank you enough. As of right now, Major Michael Ulansky is, as of right now, my favorite range master to work with, and not degrading Blair Cooper or Mark Zebart, who did a great job as range master for me, or Carl Schmidt, possibly the greatest range master out there right now. I can't thank Mike enough for deciding he's ready to come back and work with us, because the last 2 events that he's done, he has made the calls that I would have made. He has done the job that I would have did. He has respected the shooters, but also respected the rule book and the sport. He's dedicated way more time than I expect to understanding and learning what we're doing. He has been a part of my organization for 7-8 years, and now going to becoming a part of the rules committee, and helping us guide the rule book and create the rule book and make the rule book stronger and better. And I can't thank you enough. I can't thank everybody enough, because guys, without everything we do, and without me sitting here rapping you for an hour, we wouldn't have a sport. We wouldn't have what we do. Dave Seeley, first Ironman RO I ever worked with. He was the senior and I was the second, and he taught me a lot, and now he still comes and works my matches. Thank you, Dave. Mark Otto, holy heck, man, where you been? Mark Otto, bought some stuff from him when I first started shooting. Thank you for your support of the sport. Another entity that we need, not just the sponsors, but the people that are creating the equipment that we need to do our job and do what we love to do. Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir. Carrie wants me to talk about the evolution of price tables, so I will. I'll make this podcast. It'll be longer than an hour. Maybe none of you will listen to it, but I'm going to make it longer than an hour. Cody Leeper, already registered for Bushnell. Thank you. Wyoming, yes, I need you in Texas. Jeff Chafin, bring it. He's cocking smack. Scott Green, you're welcome everywhere we go. I can't thank you enough for your dedication to the sport. You've put a lot of work in. For those of you who don't know, for 9 years of USPSA Multi-Gun Nationals, I handed the open title to 2 individuals, the great Michael Voigt and the absolute great Jerry Michalik. And there came a point in the changing of the guard, and it was Scott Green. There's a lot of people talking around the country about who's the greatest shooter right now, and we have different divisions, so it's hard to quantify it. But I've handed more titles to Scott Green in the open division in the last couple of years. So Scott Green, you put the work in, and we appreciate it. And those of you who want to step up and join the ranks of who I've handed the open title to, you better start practicing a lot. Looking forward to Mike Bauer. Yep, Mike. I'm not disagreeing, but who's to say that some of these top shooters didn't give back when they first started, right? Nobody shows up to this thing and becomes the champion, and so maybe I do know that, like Casey Pratt, he's been shooting with the Super Squad. He's been reaping the benefits of learning from them. We brought him on as a part of our family really early on, and we love him to death. And I've done some training with him, and he contacted me recently. I'm pretty sure he's a semi-pro, expert semi-pro, really shooting at a good level. As long as he's been shooting, called me up and said, "Hey man, I need to come help you with a match." So, Mike coming to CV, Pat Daniels, can't wait to see you, brother. Wish you could make it. James Robinson. Okay, so James, there's a good question. I don't know if we talked about that, and I got to go back to prize tables. And there was something else I wanted to talk about that I just lost. Oh, damn it. Prize tables, evolution. I'm going to get off. Dang it, someone's going to have to help me. There was one other thing I wanted to talk about. There were definitely the evolution of prize tables. But the Nationals, that's an interesting thing. And there's some discussion of you should have to qualify to go to the Nationals. Depends if it's an open or if it's a Nationals. And if it is a qualify to go to the Nationals, that would mean that the Nationals would have a certain number of slots to it, and all of those slots would be full by qualifying individuals. If you would have to qualify to go to the Nationals, and then the Nationals only got 50 shooters, it wouldn't really represent the Nationals. So the chance, or the fact, James, I agree with you 100%. The fact that if an event, i.e. the 2019 Surefire World Multigun, in the main match schedule only holds 140 shooters, it's not a big match. That match was not built to bring in 500 shooters and make a bunch of money. That match is built with a really crazy matrix that doesn't allow to fit more with 16 stages. If we were to require qualification into that event, we would need more than that number to want to be at that event, i.e. if 500 people wanted to be there, rather than first come first serve, we would create that qualification to make it required to shoot a national championship or a level 4 event. So I hope that answers your question, Scott Green. Show up, have fun, be safe. So hot. Tony Torres, I think John and Nils managed the prize table at Grands. I think it was a great way for a couple of top shooters to pitch in. They are familiar with the value of prizes as well as knowing a lot of the shooters, so they could keep an eye on the order of people coming in there. Holy heck. Tony Torres from the other room dropping knowledge bombs. Put some thumbs up right there. All right, let's talk about that. Sometimes some of the top shooters, because of the way practice score works and because of the way our sport works, which again I don't like, but I won't change because the shooters like it. Once we post scores, everybody knows who won, and so some of the top shooters are just hanging out, waiting us to get to first place, while we thank the staff and sponsors, which will never change on my watch. There will never come a time on my watch where we will start an award ceremony and just call out first place, let him walk the prize table, and send him on his way. We have to thank the sponsors. We have to thank the staff. We have to give back. And if we can't find a way to do that, we won't have events. The sponsors will disappear, and the staff will disappear. Now, if you guys all want to come to national level events and RO yourself, we can discuss it. But until that happens, we need to beg staff, thank staff, give staff some freaking prizes, awards, appreciations, rank points, everything we can do for them, because without them we got nothing. And Tony, that's a huge note. John and Nils jumped in there, offered to work the prize room. They helped Ben Lizardo, my buddy, who didn't know 100% what he was doing but knew what I wanted him to do, was so passionate about doing it right because he was so aware that he was an outsider looking in, that he needed help. And these individuals went in there once he was done building it, and we decided as a team how it was going to be organized. $62,000 in there on it was more than that, 7, 8, 9 different prize tables because of the 2 different events. And John and Nils went in there and managed it. And thank you, John and Nils, for your support and help with the event. Here's a perfect example of top shooters finding a way to give back. Kevin, I think I can swear on YouTube all I want. It's YouTube. Evolution of prize tables. Gary Palmer. Let's talk about it. We're gonna wrap up the PMR podcast. I don't know if I'll do this over and over and over again because I don't think if anybody's gonna really listen to it. I can't thank the 27 people that are here right now and the 30 or so people that have been on here over the course of the event. 34 comments, 63 comments, 34 likes and thumbs up. I will do this. I will do this every time I can, and if you guys are interested in it, at this point, I'm going to rebroadcast this again, like I said, to the United Shooting Sports League's YouTube channel. You'll be able to tell your friends that are not on Facebook to go to that YouTube. You can do it on any smartphone. On that smartphone, you'll be able to go to the podcast, go to the live feed, just press play, plug your phone in, and listen. I don't know why I'm getting mad faces, but if you have a comment about something that you disagree with, please comment. I can't fix problems that I don't hear. Let's talk about the evolution of prize tables. The sponsors cannot keep up. Fact number 1. The sponsors cannot keep up with the growth of the sports, and yes, a championship every single week. Is there a need for a championship every single week? Maybe not. Is there sports that have championships every single week? Yes, there are. We can't compare ourselves to, as we said at the top of the hour, we can't compare ourselves to a sport that's a team sport that is embedded into national coverage and starting all the way at the Pee-wee leagues and has billions and billions and billions of dollars backing it. We cannot compare ourselves to that. But if we compare ourselves to sports like tennis and golf, where there are weekly championships, we have to then accept the fact that the sponsors inside the sport cannot keep up. Fact. Period. So, there are other events you go to. There are pistol events that you go to where people are just fine and happy getting second place C-class plaque and not walking a prize table. Fact. There are world events, i.e. the World IPSC pistol match that comes to America, and it was competed and was challenged recently over the last couple of years, and all of the USPSA America shooters got to go and shoot against the world field here in America on their home ground. We're fighting for trophies, not prizes. Fact. Soak that in, guys. Multi-gun has been a sport that as long as I've been shooting it, we beg and plead with sponsors to create prize tables so that 100% of the field gets a present. I think the top shooters earning first place, second place, third place, and now that we have qualification titles, can consider winning something a prize for your efforts of winning. But if I'm last place in the event, even though I'm a new shooter, that is not a prize at that point. So, hate me all you want. I don't do this often, guys. You probably notice I don't get on Facebook a lot. I don't do this often, but I'm very passionate about some of the things that we're doing. And I can tell you right now, the sponsors can't keep up with building prize tables for 100% of the field. And let's think about it at the bottom anyway. Let's think about it in the middle. Let's think about someone whose guns jammed. They didn't perform very well. They're new to the game. Some of the things at the bottom of the prize table, you don't even use. I'm not even talking about wanting. You want something because it's cool, but you don't even use it. Everybody throw a thumbs up on here if you have something at your house in a drawer over there that you got off a prize table where you didn't perform very well in that drawer and you never used it. And you didn't give it to somebody, a new shooter. And you thought, I'll take this because it's there and maybe someday I'll use it, but you never used it. It's right over there. Should we really be fighting and arguing and debating over that? Should we really be arguing prize tables and everybody getting prizes over things that you don't even use or want? At the 2017 USPSA Multi-Gun Nationals, I gave away a heated toilet seat. I put I don't know where it came from. It just showed up from headquarters. It was a heated toilet seat. And somebody in like 10th place took it. Okay? And that opened up my eyes. It wasn't the bottom of the maybe it wasn't 10th place. I don't know exactly who took it. I just know it was not there long. It was not there forever. There was jokes and discussions about who was going to take the heated toilet seat. But it was not left over at the end for staff. And it was not left over at the end to go whatever. Somebody took it ahead of prizes, which means some of those prizes below that they didn't want. And you know what I do at the end when we get done with the 2-gun table and we move it to the limited table and we move it to the heavy table and we move it to the tack table, and at the end there's still stuff left over in that prize room. It all gets boxed up. It all goes to staff. We take all that stuff. I called up the sponsors a few years ago. Hey, I got these certs left over. What do you want me to do? They said, give it to your staff. We take that stuff and we give it to staff. I don't need it. I don't even shoot anymore. What am I going to do with? I got 5 JP rifles. What am I going to do? I got JP rifles that I built myself, that I became a diamond dealer for, that I sold rifles under the JP. I'm a diamond dealer. I'm a dealer for Safariland, Terran Tactical, JP, all this stuff that I was doing, all this extra work. I don't need another $100 JP cert. It goes to my staff. And that's what JP told me to do with it. So, what's the evolution of prize tables? It's real simple, guys. If you win something and the sponsors are there, you're going to win something. What does that mean? That means if you're first, second, third overall in TAC Optics, there's probably going to be a prize. At Surefire, we take TAC Optics all the way to 10th. So if you're first through 10th at Surefire and you come to the final shoot-off, you're going to get a prize. If you're 11th, I don't know. And where does that change? With the evolution of the qualification title system that the United Shooting Sports Leagues is doing everything they can to create and implement. How does that work? We have pros, semi-pros, and then we have our amateur rakes. Marksman, sharpshooter, and expert. As you have seen at the last few events that we've put on, I would use the Safariland event this year in March as the telltale. We gave out 183 different awards for shooters because we had a qualification title system that was in effect and working. So let's just speculate, i.e. you end up with a district event that has 2 level 3 experts in tack optics. These are people that have shot other events, putting in the time, putting in the work, and they're the top of the amateur ranks. And if they were to win first, second, third expert at the district match, there would probably be a prize for them. If you were 10th place expert at a district level event out of 60 shooters in tack optics, and you were the 10th place expert, you should probably have practiced more to beat the first and second place experts. So the true evolution of prize tables is not that we don't want to give everybody everything. And for those of you that want to put a thumbs up or a mad face up because I'm talking about this and I'm being real in my first PMR podcast, we don't not want to give you guys stuff. I'm so excited to build a giant prize table. I'm so excited when my sponsors give us stuff. But Dottie works year round talking with sponsors. We go to SHOT Show, we go to NRA Show, we talk to them, we thank them, we do videos at the matches, we put them on YouTube, we put them on Instagram, we put them on Facebook, we do stuff for the sponsors. Go look at the Safariland catalog right now. There's a picture of me. I'm not even a pro shooter for Safariland. They sponsor my team, but I'm in there because we did a photo shoot, and my photo just happened to be a good one. We work for our sponsors as hard as we can, as much as we can. We give back in marketing preparation, marketing value to create these prize tables for you guys. We have to thank those sponsors. We have to fly their banners. We hope that you do a video with their banner in the video. We hope that you wear their logos on the MIP jersey and you run a video with their logo on the jersey. We are doing everything we can to try to help give back some value to these sponsors. But the reality is, at a district match that only has 100 shooters from that district, there's not a ton of value for that sponsor. So title sponsors, we try to do everything we can for them. All the sponsors that come to the event, we can't thank you guys enough. If you're a small company sponsoring events, thank you. Thank you, thank you. If you're a small company sponsoring events and you have an idea of a way we can give back to you better, tell us. If you're a small company that sponsors an event and you don't send anybody to that event to talk to the shooters at that event about your products, think about finding a way to finance one of your members or one of your shooters, right? So when I'm at an event and a sponsored shooter for a company comes up to me and says, at awards, can I showcase my personal rifle that my company built for me? I say, yes, 100%. Great job for your sponsor. When Safariland came out with the 086 caddies a couple years ago, I took Cody Leeper and Jeremy Reed and I said, you two, during the awards, you're going to be over there at a table demoing those caddies for that sponsor so that 100% of the field can come look at them and play with them and touch them. If you're a sponsor at an event at any level and you want to be a part of that event, all you have to do is say, let me be a part of the event. We would love to have you. And the more you sponsored shooters have time to help us out and represent for those companies that support you, the better it's going to be for those sponsors. The evolution of a prize table, the evolution of an award ceremony is simple. The sponsors want to be a part because we as match directors and you as shooters give back to them as much as possible in marketing value. Step one, you go to an event, you do good, you thank your own sponsors, and you thank the sponsors at that event on social media. You have followers, they get coverage, they feel like they're getting marketing value. 2, they give enough products so that we can give the people that are earning them at the top, the people that are winning their titles at different divisions at many different levels, meaning you could be the first place marksman, 60%. You've earned marksman through your participation at other awards. You come to the event as a marksman. You're a 50 to 60% shooter, meaning you don't have to compete against Scott Green. And you show up to that event and you perform as a marksman and you're first place marksman, we're going to find you a prize if there's prizes at all on that table. If you're the 22nd place marksman you might not have a prize because we might run out and you didn't perform. And that should motivate you to practice more and motivate you to perform. And does that mean not everybody should be able to shoot bigger matches? No, because you could shoot the biggest match you've ever been to and shoot at 30% of Scott Green, but you enjoyed shooting the match. You're doing what you got into the sport for. First time I shot a match, I wasn't 50%. I was a disaster. First time I shot a match outside of the state, Taryn Butler made fun of me the entire time. And it motivated me to get better gear, support the sponsors through purchasing better equipment, go to more matches, supporting the sponsors and the match staff at those matches, and practice and better myself so I could be better. I want everybody to have a good time at the matches. I want everybody to feel like they're having a good time and getting some value out of it. But it's another circle of life, just like we need pro shooters to represent at the matches, as well as we need staff to build the matches. We need sponsors to provide stuff for the tables for those pro shooters or top level shooters or winning shooters. And at the same time, we need to be able to provide value in marketing back to those sponsors. If they get on board and help us out by sending their pro shooter, and that pro shooter sets up a little table and demonstrates some of those products, then we're getting marketing value, we're getting sponsors, we're getting stuff for them, they're getting stuff for us, and then the shooters that perform at the best level win. We go back to golf. Golf has a tournament every single weekend. You pay to get in that tournament. If you don't perform good enough to get to the weekend, you go home with no prize, no title, no ranking, no number, no nothing. And you have to go practice more. And if you go practice more, maybe your next event, you'll make the cut. And once you make the cut, you get a paycheck. We don't have paychecks yet. We're a long way from being mature enough to have paychecks. The sponsors don't want to give up cash. And the reality is taking money, a money match, without getting into a money match, meaning I take all the entry fees, and instead of buying more prizes and supporting the event, I take all the entry fees and I pay it out to the winners, which means you bottom 50 to 70, 80% pay to enter a match, to shoot without watching, without spectating, and then your money that you paid goes to the same 5 people. That's not going to work either. Let's be real, guys. That's not going to work. If I'm a bottom of the barrel shooter, I'm going to go to my local club championship where I might be able to win a title and a prize before I pay money to go to an event that I don't get to watch Max Leograndis win because he's the best PCC shooter at the event, or one of the best and has a chance to win. I don't get to watch him win. I just shoot my event, but I pay him to win. That's not going to work, guys. That's the other. Someone got an idea of how they can do a cash match, let me know. It's not going to work in my opinion. And that's just my opinion, not a fact. In other words, fact. PGA Tour tennis championships every week. Fact. If you don't perform, you don't win nothing. Fact. The sponsors can't keep up. Fact. We have to thank the staff and the sponsors and all the match directors that are doing their best. I think you guys just lost me for a minute. It's alright, I can scroll. Am I back? I froze. I'm back? No, I'm frozen. Am I back? I'm lost. Alright, well, now we're on a lot of thumbs up. Thank you guys. Just trying to reconnect. Now we're on those who can't see me anymore on this can hear me on YouTube, and I just want to finalize the podcast. There are facts that I've talked about tonight that I've been kind of shy to talk about, and kind of kept myself to myself, and I have no reason whatsoever to be derogatory or negative to any other organization or any other match director or any other match or anybody out there trying to do what we all do, whether it's being a shooter or a good RO or a pro or an anything. I have no desire to negate any of that. I can't thank you all enough for providing us over the years all the abilities to shoot and perform and do what we love to do. There's a lot of facts that I've spoke about that are true facts, that I understand from 10 years and over 1,000 matches running. There are some opinions that I put up there, so by no means do I need a big giant thing going on Facebook about my opinions. They're just my opinions, and I'm not going to argue them. The facts are the facts. We know and we understand, and I think most of you understand and believe in them. And I can't thank you guys all enough for the support and the growth of the United Multi-Gun League, the United Shooting Sports Leagues, all the entities, Rifle League, Pistol League, and Steel League inside the United Shooting Sports Leagues, and everything that is what we are putting all of our time into. The people, Michael Ulansky, my range master, Blair Cooper, put a lot of time and effort into this. Tony Torres has put up with me over the years, guided by the great Michael Voigt, and many, many, many great names that have supported me and taught me and guided me and helped me. Jeremy Reed and Cody Leeper, my my top level shooters, Casey Ryan, Amory Reed, Tony Torres, the ladies that help support the organization, Dottie Baker, who puts all of her life and effort into listening to your comments and emails and talking with the sponsors, Ted for selfishly jumping up and wanting to be a part of what we're doing and helping us out, Mark Ziebart for helping write all the rule books and being a part of my organization, my family, my team for many, many, many years. Travis Gibson, Craig Outson, Patrick Kelly for helping me with rule books and questions whenever I can't figure out what the heck we want to do. When I make a phone call to you guys are always there for me, and I thank you. All the people that have ever match directed or ran a match at Desert Sportsman's, Clark County, or Silver State Practical, John McClain, Ed Pierce, everybody that's out there, Pat Daniels, Mike Ulansky, my current staff that helped me out, Brian Otrambo, Jason Boutelier, the gentlemen in the Air Force that have all helped out and been a part and have now gone all their own directions. Mike Dagg for helping Dottie all the time. Keith Servag for running the steel matches when he's been doing it for over a decade and is probably exhausted and tired doing it. Everybody that helps out and lends a hand and is a part of what we do. Wild West Guns, Jeremy West, Michael Kelly, the other gentlemen on the team of Wild West Guns that have helped out with prize tables. Fun Size Frank for now stepping up and really helping us out at the last couple events. Everybody with Wild West Guns, can't thank you guys enough for all your support. My newest people that have jumped in, Anil, and all the people that help out at the local club, thank you. The sponsors, I have the best sponsors in the country supporting my events, and I've had all of the sponsors in the country support an event that I've done. And if I haven't, and I could get a hold of you and find a way to give back to you more and get you as a part of my events, I would love to listen to that conversation. So thank you guys. Thank everybody for everything. I'm humbled, honored, believe in what I'm doing, believe in the facts that I've spoke to you about. If you guys would like to see more podcasts from me or more YouTube podcasts, be glad to do it. And I'm going to finalize this. It still says trying to connect, but I'm getting thumbs up. Am I still there? My screen says trying to connect. My secondary screen is showing that I'm here. Looks like I'm still here. So, Andrew, what's up? Chef, added benefit. Do it for fun. Be with my kid. Teach while I'm all at it. Give it to the junior shooters. Just want to shoot. Don't need prizes. Love you guys. Give a lot away to the new people. They deserve it more than me. Do that, Brian. Nothing worse than cold cheeks on a long haul. I don't know what that means. Cody, anyone wants any of my gear, let me know, and I'll find a way to let you have it. Nicholas is using your shotgun right now. That isn't mine. True, but the owner doesn't use it. Jeff, I've shot 81 stages you have designed this year so far, and I'm looking forward to the next 39 this year. Think about that. You're doing work. Enjoy it. Thank you, Jeff, so much. Cody, spread the gospel. Have fun. Please keep coming back to visit. Kevin Moran, coming back. Volunteers make this organization. Thank you. Brian, you always come work your ass off too, brother. Appreciate you guys. That's it. First podcast. I'm out. was way too long. Rebroadcast on USSL on YouTube. Check that thing out. There's also some cool information on YouTube regarding the MIP program. We're going to launch that thing soon. There's some cool little videos about some tips and tricks. We're going to try to give you more of those. Check out the YouTube. Check out TMP show every Wednesday night at 6 o'clock. MIP sponsors, thank you guys so much. That's going to be coming out soon. And we will see you guys next week. Just before we get in the car and head up to Utah for the District 2. Kerry Palmer, thank you for running another District 2 for us at Barry's Bullets District 2 Championships. We'll see you guys there. If we miss you on a Wednesday, it's because we're running a match somewhere in the country. Come visit, come shoot, come have some fun, and anything you need, don't hesitate to come talk to me, text me, call me. I'm here. I'm out. Peace.